Okay, so welcome in. Today we're going to talk a little bit about synthetic leases, what they are, and why they've been tightened up since the Enron crisis. Synthetic leases. Basically, what a synthetic lease is it allows a parent company to establish a special purpose entity. It sells the asset to that special purpose entity, and then it leases it back to itself. So it allows the asset to be treated as an operating lease for accounting purposes, but then as a capital lease for tax purposes. So i.e., it allows the liabilities to remain off the balance sheet, boosting debt to equity, but then it allows effectively the ownership of the asset to be recognized by the parent company. So basically the way it works, the parent company sets up a special purpose entity, it transfers the real estate or the asset, whatever it is, to the special purpose entity. The special purpose entity will purchase it to some degree, but it's a very tight transaction because of the parent company. So usually it's a pretty beneficial thing for that special purpose entity and pretty simple deal. Special purpose entity buys that asset, it then leases that asset back to this parent company. It shows on the balance sheet of the special purpose entity, that's where the asset is held. It leases it back to the parent company. The parent company treats the lease as an operating lease for accounting purposes. It stays off the balance sheet of the parent company. The liabilities for future lease payments, etc., stay off of that balance sheet. They effectively expense the lease payments. And then it remains, the company still gets to effectively say that they own the asset because they do control it. And, obviously a capital lease, there's several different factors that go into whether a asset could be treated as a capital lease for tax purposes. And effectively, there's, I think, 4 of them, but all of them are basically, is your lease a significant portion of the asset / do you control the asset / do you have an agreement to buy the asset back at a very low price later? It's all of that kind of stuff. So effectively, do you control the asset? So what this allows to happen is the parent company to control the asset, to tell shareholders, etc., that it controls the asset, but to not have those liabilities on its balance sheet, and it can expense the lease payments. So it's one of those things that it got tightened up after Enron. So in today's day and age, synthetic leases generally will be challenged, and they could be converted to traditional leases. And there could be a penalty, or could be backdating, etc. So it's something that's relatively risky to do now. But you can see it's something that's a little bit creative, and to some degree, there's some things like this that were happening in the WeWork setup. That's why I decided to do this video after. The issue with Enron, of course, was that it wasn't as simple as transferring real estate. There were many different entities, and there was effectively not a good push by management to act in good faith. Basically, they were trying to obfuscate what was happening.